Imagine a world where the banks won't touch your money, where your ships are turned away from every port, and every single dollar you try to move is under a microscope. Well, for some countries, that's not a movie plot. It's reality. But what if there was another way? A secret network built from the ground up to get around this global financial lockdown. Okay, let's get into it.
I mean, that's the big question, right? When the main doors to the global economy are slammed shut in your face, what do? Well, some nations have been forced to get creative. They're not just finding little loopholes, they are building an entirely new parallel system to keep the lights on.
So, to really get this, we have to understand that for decades, pretty much the entire world of trade has run on one thing, the US dollar. And because of that dominance, Washington has this unique and powerful ability to use sanctions, basically turning the global financial system into a tool of foreign policy.
And for a long time, that theory held up. If you were cut off from the dollar, you were toast. But that's starting to change. Countries like Iran and Russia are figuring out ways around it, and it challenges the very foundation of this power. So, how are they pulling it off? Well, it really comes down to two main pillars.
First things first, you've got to solve the money problem. If you can't use the regular banking system, you need a different way to pay for things. This is where shadow finance comes in, and it's this fascinating mix of something ancient and something brand new, all designed to move money without being seen. And this really shows you the difference in a nutshell. On one side, you've got traditional money. It's controlled by governments. Every transaction leaves a trail. But on the other side, in the shadow economy, the assets they use are the complete opposite. They're decentralized, incredibly difficult to trace, and they blend the old with the new.
The two main tools in this toolbox are gold and cryptocurrency. Gold, that's the original global currency, right? It isn't tied to any single country. You can literally settle a deal for a tanker of oil with physical gold bars. But, gold is heavy. And that's where crypto comes into the picture, giving them a way to zap value across borders digitally. In an instant.
So how does a deal like this actually go down? Let's walk through it. Imagine a company in a sanctioned nation. They take their local currency and swap it for a stablecoin. That's a type of crypto that's pegged to something like the dollar to keep its value steady. Then they just send that digital cash straight to a partner overseas. No banks, no middlemen. After the deal is done, that partner uses a special broker, what they call an off-ramp, to turn the crypto back into regular money. It's a complete self-contained financial pipeline, all running in the shadows.
But moving the money is only half the problem solved. You still have to physically move the goods, the oil, the resources, whatever it is. And that leads us to the second pillar, a huge, secret fleet of ships that has basically perfected the art of becoming invisible at sea.
Now, to understand how these ships pull a vanishing act, you first have to know about something called AIS, the Automatic Identification System. Just think of it like air traffic control, but for the ocean. Every large vessel is legally required to broadcast its location and identity all the time. It's a safety thing.
So what happens when a ship decides it doesn't want to be on the map anymore? What if they just flip a switch? When that signal goes dark, the ship just vanishes from all the public tracking systems.
And just like that, a regular ship becomes a ghost. It's still out there, sailing on the water, but to the rest of the world, it's gone. That one simple move is how the ghost fleet comes to be.
Of course, just turning off the tracker isn't the whole story. These guys have a whole playbook of deceptive tricks. They do something called flag hopping, where they constantly change the country their ship is registered in to create a confusing paper trail. They do these super risky ship-to-ship transfers out in the middle of the ocean to mix sanctioned oil with clean oil. And it's all supported by a web of fake documents and anonymous shell companies.
Okay, so why does any of this matter? Well, because this is not some tiny fringe operation. The truly shocking part is just how fast and how big this system has gotten, and it's creating huge risks that affect all of us.
The numbers here are just mind-boggling. We are talking about a fleet of well over 1,000 vessels, 1,000 ships, operating outside the law, moving everything from oil and weapons to luxury goods, all of it defying international sanctions.
And the trend line is crystal clear. While legitimate global trade is growing at a normal pace, the growth in this shadow trade is just exploding. It's a boom industry, creating a whole parallel economy that plays by its own set of rules.
The consequences really break down into three big areas. First, it obviously makes sanctions a lot less powerful. Second, many of these are older, poorly maintained ships operating with no oversight, which is a huge environmental risk. Think massive oil spills. And third, a secret, untraceable shipping network creates some pretty serious security threats for everyone.
But this isn't a one-sided fight. As the rule breakers get more sophisticated, so do the people trying to catch them. This has turned into a really high-stakes technological cat-and-mouse game playing out across the globe.
I mean, it is a full-on arms race. On one side, you have all the evasion tactics we just talked about, but on the other, you have intelligence agencies using powerful satellites that can spot these ship-to-ship transfers from space, and they're using artificial intelligence to sift through data and predict where the next illicit deal will happen.
And this quote really sums it all up, doesn't it? Every time a new tool is created to stop them, the ghost fleet and the shadow financiers invent a new way to hide. It's a constant cycle of action and reaction.
So here's the bottom line. This fusion of old-school gold, new-school crypto, and these clever tricks at sea, it's created something much bigger than just a loophole. It represents a major shift, a fundamental challenge to the global order, and the very effectiveness of using financial warfare as a political tool.
Which leaves us with a huge final question to think about. In an age where money is becoming digital and networks are becoming decentralized, is the whole idea of top-down sanctions becoming obsolete? It sure seems like we're entering a brand new and much more complicated era of global competition.